Okay, so we are covering this breaking news, and President Trump is about to head out on the first Middle East trip of his second term. So likely, oh, we pray, when Edan Alexander is freed, he's not off the ground yet. He got word. We just got word, too. Edan Alexander has just been freed. That Red Cross group that was heading to the handover point has just reached it, and they are hands-on at this point. This is news for the world. This is news that was brought about by an American president to bring an American home. We do not leave ours behind. Amazing. Senior Foreign Affairs correspondent Greg Palkot. I am teared up at this point. I mean, this is critical. This is critical. I know you're in Tel Aviv, Greg.
It's big news, Harris, absolutely. We do now have confirmation that Edan Alexander, that 21-year-old native of Tenafly, New Jersey, is out of the ugly hands of Hamas and back in safety in the West. What we're watching on several monitors here is the transfer, which has just happened. It started in Khan Yunis. That's a town in Gaza. That is where Hamas brought the 21-year-old, and then they transferred him over to a set of Red Cross vehicles. The Red Cross vehicles have left Gaza, or at least at that point. And now we are waiting on the next stage, Harris. That is Edan Alexander being moved from a Red Cross vehicle to an IDF, to an Israeli military vehicle, where he will be brought to a nearby base for basically the first check. I gotta underscore this, Harris. We have not seen him yet. We have heard he is in good condition. We have not seen the transfer. We have been told that Hamas was going to play this low. They low key. They didn't want a big show. They didn't want to insult the U.S., which has been very much deeply involved in this negotiation. So our visuals are not as good as in past hostage handovers, but we do have the word that he has gone out of Hamas captivity. He is in the Red Cross vehicles. They are being brought to the Israeli military. Let me give you just a brief backgrounder on this man. Again, 21-year-old Edan Alexander. He was held for 19 months by Hamas. He had been, it's nice to say that now, he had been the last living American held by the terror group. He was born in Tenafly, New Jersey, of Israeli parents. A dual national American-Israeli, left the U.S. when he was 18. He wanted to sign up as a soldier. The IDF, this was before October 7th happened. He was on the Gaza border on that fateful day, abducted by Hamas. His release has been brokered through very, very unusual talks, direct talks happening between the U.S. and Hamas, with Steve Witkoff, the special envoy, involved. There were intermediaries involved too, but we can call those talks direct, and that's very important. What happens now, Harris, is Alexander, after he will be checked out at this base just outside of Gaza, will be flown up here to Tel Aviv to yet another hospital where he will be checked out further. Important thing to say about that first stop, though, at the Israeli military down south, he will meet his mother, who's been flown there. He'll also be met by a few U.S. officials, including Bolin, the envoy involved with hostages, and Witkoff, who was flown down there for that very reason. So now we're looking at a country that is watching this, but also anxious about the remaining 58 hostages, including, it's believed, 20 alive. One last word from President Trump, who posted and talked about it. He is very happy. It's great news. And U.S. played a major part. Back to you.
Oh, Greg, you mentioned one country. There are two countries on our screen right now. There's Tel Aviv, Israel, where his mother is waiting to have her in her arms again, have him in her arms again, and Tenafly, New Jersey, which they call home. The Jewish Community Center there on the Palisades has kept watch and prayer and so much hope for 584 days. When you walk into that center, there is almost a life-size poster of his face. You cannot forget Edan Alexander and all of the rest of the hostages on walls as you walk through that JCC in Tenafly, keeping everyone in mind. Now, Greg Palkot, we want to thank, and he said that the next move for Edan Alexander is to be moved from the Red Cross facility and be turned into IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, and their military care on a base. I want to bring in now Republican Congressman Brian Mast of Florida, Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman. He is also a retired U.S. Army Staff Sergeant and former volunteer with the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF. You and I have talked about a day like today, and now it has happened for this family. First of all, your thoughts about where he's now going.
Yeah, so just one, thank God. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, Steve Witkoff, all for their participation in getting him home. Undoubtedly, you know, as was pointed out, he's going to go receive whatever immediate trauma he might need, assessments on his medical care. There has been conversation about whether after his health is assessed, will he follow on and meet the president, where the president is going to speak with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE, where undoubtedly there will be many high-level discussions about what's going on between Israel and Gaza, the future of Abraham Accords. And if his health allowed it, I think there would be hard-pressed to find a more important presence that you could see take place there.
Talk to me about the visuals that we see on the screen, Tel Aviv and Tenafly. And of course, a photo of Edan Alexander in the bottom right corner as we await to hear more word about how he's doing now that he's free. These are communities and the rest of the world, too, that have prayed with such a backdrop of Jewish hate in this country. And it is hard to talk about the love we see on the screen and the homecoming, knowing that there is so much of it already at home here.
Harris, you pointed out accurately, we have a president that believes we don't leave our people behind. And this administration has been fighting every single day to make sure that that's not just words for America, but that is the policy that we live up to. And I can tell you, for all of the families and the loved ones and just the citizens that you see on the screen, these people have been in and out of Washington, D.C., meeting with myself, meeting with the administration, meeting with other representatives, always making sure that it is top of mind that there are individuals being held, that they are still being tortured, that they are being starved, the conditions that they're in, that there are bodies being held. They are making sure day in, day out that has been top of mind. And they get a lot of credit in this fight, too, as well, for just maintaining that hope and maintaining that they will keep it forefront for everybody to be thinking about. And so the joy that they must be going through to see this pedantic drumbeat of victories coming through, another person returned, it just gives more hope to those that still remain.
Oh, that is so beautifully put and so hopeful. You're right. The job is not done yet. The total job is not done yet. In fact, it comes with a deadline for a ceasefire this Thursday, May 15th. You know, you fought alongside those members of the IDF. What are they facing at this point? And does Hamas even have a clue how fast they need to move now?
You face in Israel right now that's prepared to go in with the full violence of action that they can produce to say, listen, we want everybody returned. We want every body returned. We want every terrorist from the area gone. Every stronghold that you've had as a terrorist stronghold where you've launched operations, they come to an end. There will be no future for any of this going forward. And they will bring the full weight of every power that they can to make sure that that is the conclusion. And I think that's what you have going forward for the Israeli military right now. Again, we're celebrating this hope today that we have because of the return of an American Israeli. But again, there are those that remain and those bodies that remain, and there's still an ongoing conflict that has to be dealt with. And everybody recognizes that. And
those families deserve answers. They deserve to know what has happened. And if there are living among them that we may not even know of. Congressman Mast, I'm going to ask you to stand by and listen in if you can, because we have now a guest on the phone, Sue Gelsey. She is the interim CEO of the Kaplen Jewish Community Center in New Jersey. And I don't know if she can hear me.
I can hear you.
You're there. All right. First of all, I can only imagine what it looks like. I know you had the Reuben run yesterday. The place was packed. And so all those people had to do was just stay in their lawn chairs at this point. What is it like at the JCC in Tenafly on the Palisades?
Thanks for asking. I will say we're actually downtown Tenafly right now, and there's about 3,000 people, I'm estimating, have gathered, many of whom have been here since 5 a.m. before the sun came up, hoping to see what we're about to see, the first glimpse of Edan and his family reuniting after a long, long period of waiting.
Look, I have read, and I know that members of his family belonged. Can you fill us in a little bit about what's been going on to support this family and how, maybe just tell us anything about them?
Yeah, and they're a wonderful family. I mean, in Tenafly, we have a large Israeli-American population. They're among them. They've been members of the JCC for many, many years. Edan and his siblings were part of our swim team, participated in after-school activities, joined us on Sundays for basketball and other activities. And we're also part of the vibrant Israeli-American community at the JCC, participating in holiday events and so on. They're a wonderful family, and they're great citizens of Tenafly. The entire town of Tenafly, the mayor is here, the lieutenant governor is here, Congressman Gottheimer's here. People are rallying because this family was all of us.
This family is
all of us.
All of us, yes. It sounds like you have known Edan Alexander since he was much younger than what he is now, playing in sports. And so tell us about the young man that you remember, and no doubt you'll see that family at some point, what you want to say to them.
We just want to say we are here with you and for you all the time. They know that. We've been really well connected with them over the last year and a half. We had a gathering immediately after October 7th before we really knew the fate of Edan. We later had a gathering with the family, for the family, where David Broza performed. At the one anniversary of October 7th, we had 4,000 people gather at the JCC, and Yael was one of our speakers, and the whole community embraced her and their whole family. And we just want to say we're waiting for Edan and the whole family to come back to home in Tenafly.
Sue Gelsey, thank you for joining us. I know this is a jubilant time. It's also one of reflection on those who remain in captivity, perhaps living, we don't know. But as a total community, as Americans now, we are with you.
Thank you. And we are praying for the return of all of the remaining 58 hostages.
Yes. We are too. Sue Gelsey, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.